It is on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
Good evening and welcome. This is the Thursday, October 13th meeting of the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners. We are here specifically to listen to the presentation from the county engineer regarding the 1 and 6 Road and Bridge Improvement Program. Mr. Clerk.
Copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk staff. Printing options are available upon request. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 is a public hearing. This is a 1 and 6 year road and bridge improvement program for fiscal years 2023, 2024 through 2028. Do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good evening. Welcome to the 2023 Lancaster County 1 and 6 Road and Bridge Program hearing. This meeting is based on state statute. I always like to remind everybody that the 1 and 6 program is fiscally constrained. That means that it does not encompass all of our needs. In fact, it does not encompass many of our critical needs. It encompasses just what funding has been allocated for.
We're going to pause for one moment. We appear to be having some audio that people cannot hear. So let's try again.
Can you hear me now?
I don't know. Is it your mic?
I didn't hear Dan or Pam really.
Okay, so we're only getting mics from the dais.
We can hear you.
We will pause for one moment. Pause while if I channel Link TV there. So we'll just hold for one moment while they're checking the sound.
Can you hear me? Back row. Maybe this one would be better.
It's taped down.
Short of moving over here, but that probably throws you off with your presentation.
A little bit. Let's hold. Did you touch the mic that says "Do not touch the mic"? Thank you. All right.
Corey has authority.
Okay. Can you guys hear her now? Is that better?
Say something.
Can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay. I'm Ms. Dragoo.
Yep.
Can you come up and go ahead and run the presentation, and I'll talk from the other mic. So it's just the arrows. It's just do arrow
Up, down, or sideways?
and down, just down. Okay. Maybe this will be a little better. I am Pam Dingman, the Lancaster County engineer. Typically, I introduce my staff, who sometimes has a bit of a sense of humor. And typically what happens is, because I'm introducing people who are behind me, I forget someone, and then they remind me of it for the entire year. So this year we're going to do something a little different, and we'll start with Ms. Dragoo. If you could state your name and the position that you hold at Lancaster County, that would be great.
The broken mic?
Yeah.
My name's Tracy Dragoo. I'm the Administrative Services Officer for Lancaster County Engineering.
Rob Balvadian, the Road Maintenance Superintendent for Lancaster.
Curtis McCorney, I'm a Maintenance Supervisor for Lancaster County.
Roger Husenfeld, Maintenance Supervisor. Bud Geislinger, Assistant Highway Superintendent. Brandon Kramer, Maintenance Supervisor.
Doug?
Doug Sindler, Construction Project Manager.
Mike Hawley, Design Coordinator. Nick Miller, Design Engineer.
Larry Legg, Assistant County Engineer.
Alex Olson, Right-of-Way Manager, Lancaster County.
John Berry, Lancaster County Surveyor.
John Lindo, Design Engineer.
Rachel? Thank you. So now I can just make fun of them for the next year. So this is already winning tonight. Lancaster County has 293 bridges or bridge length culverts. A bridge length culvert spans 20 feet. In addition, Lancaster County has 45 miles of dirt road, over 1,000 miles of gravel roads, 284 miles of pavement. And the photo shown here is the brand new pavement on Southwest 42nd Street, just outside of Hallam. We have approximately 1,000 box culverts that span under 20 feet, which means they're not called bridges, and 6,900 pipe culverts, including driveway culverts. Our maintenance operations consist of several material storage locations, 13 buildings around the county, and a rock quarry that no longer produces rock, but we store our stuff there. In addition to that, the Lancaster County Shop is responsible for repairing all vehicles and heavy equipment for Lancaster County. We are also the county gas station, and we provide gas to Lincoln Police Department. In addition to the other infrastructure things that we take care of, my department takes care of just a little under 3,000 acreage lots, and that includes the pavement or gravel road in those acreage lots. Some of the challenges that we have faced in 2022 are ongoing road closures and detours due to the Lincoln South Beltway, supply chain and labor shortages. I did read a report recently that said in construction, the labor shortages are actually up 39% over the last year. That is significant. There are approximately 455,000 jobs in construction open in America right now. And hey, guess what? We have a few of those at Lancaster County. So if there's anyone in the audience that would like to join the Lancaster County team, we have openings from everything from engineering to equipment operator right now, and we would love to have the help, especially going into winter. Inflation has also been a big deal for us. As we go and we continue to talk about inflation, this year looks like it will be another 20% inflation year. So we could actually have 2 years in a row of inflation in the 20%. That's significant because it's really the first time in many of our lifetimes that we've seen even double-digit inflation. But to see it in the 20% means that we're going to continue to do less with more dollars. In 2019, we experienced a significant event in Lancaster County. I do benchmark a lot of our infrastructure needs back to that moment. 2019 was where we hit the high, where we had 28 bridges in Lancaster County closed. We had a number of bridges that were scour critical, which means we had to do multiple inspections on them and try to figure out how we were going to stabilize the embankment. Since then, we've been able to reduce our number of scour critical bridges to the amount prior to 2018. So we've worked really hard the last 5 years to just end up dead even, and I'm really happy to be even. It's not normally the way I run, but we have fixed a lot of bridges in the last several years. That being said, we still have a number of closed bridges in Lancaster County. In fact, we have exactly 12. Last year I said it was my goal for Christmas to have less than 10 bridges closed. We did make that, but we continue to have bridges fail at an alarming rate in Lancaster County. Currently, we have 2 closed bridges that are in design, 2 closed bridges that will go under construction this winter, 2 bridges that are designed but have no funding for construction, and we have 6 bridges that are closed with no plan for construction and no funding or repair plan. As we look at the overall health of our bridge system, 119 of our bridges are rated good, 147 are rated poor, or rated fair, and 27 are rated poor. That's significant because those are the bridges that just happen to be closed. But also it's significant because these are bridges that it's recommended that they're replaced rather than repaired. It's generally not a surprise when we go out. We do monitor these bridges very carefully and much more often than required by statute because we want to make sure that the traveling public is safe. Just a little bit about our current bridge needs. We currently have 26 bridges that are structurally deficient. That means they cannot convey a standard load. 4 bridges that are functionally obsolete. Typically in Lancaster County, that means it's a 1-lane bridge or it's a narrow bridge. We have 30 bridges that are scour susceptible, meaning their embankments could erode during a flood. 11 that are scour critical. This is a term used by the Federal Highway Administration. That means that after any 4-inch rainfall event in a 7-day period, we have to inspect this bridge. These bridges do take up a lot of our time. These are the bridges that you hear me say are very close to having to be closed. And we have 27 bridges that are rated poor. We rate, out of all the counties in Nebraska, 4th in the number of closed bridges. And that is a rating that I would not like to be in the top 10 on. In the last year, we were able to finish a number of our bridge to box culvert projects, just a few of those, R210, R248, down in the southeast quadrant of the county, as well as Y181 down in the southeast quadrant of the county. We also finished M164 this year. When we worked on M164, I said it was the largest box culvert, bridge to box culvert project that we would do because there is a break point at which it doesn't make sense anymore. This was a triple barrel 12 by 12, so 36 feet in span. It's a great box culvert. It's a great project. So that the members of the community are aware, typically box culverts come in at somewhere between 1/3 and 50% of the cost of a bridge, and their life cycle is typically double. And so if we can put a box culvert in instead of a bridge, we're going to replace it with a box culvert. Bridge D88, which is up on the on Agnew Road, just east of Highway 77, is a bridge that was critically damaged in the 2015 flood. I believe we probably came somewhere within 2 to 4 hours of losing this bridge. It was very close. We were able to repair the bridge with FEMA money. However, after that bridge took that major hit, it was really never the same. And this is a really solid bridge. It was actually designed and built for us by the Defense Department to convey missiles to the missile silos. And so this bridge is sturdy. After the flood of 2015, it really wasn't anymore. We did a number of stabilization projects to it and ultimately made the decision to replace this bridge. This is what it looks like today. I joked for a long time that the problem with this bridge is it was about 100 feet too short. Staff will be happy to tell you it was only 90 feet too short. We're looking forward to opening this bridge possibly late next week, and that will be approximately a month ahead of time. And so we're super excited for the people that live up on Agnew Road. In the last few years, we have invested a lot of time and energy into creating a bridge maintenance program and a number of components to that program. The commissioners have heard me in the past talk about foam injection. We didn't really do a lot of foam injection this year because we didn't really have that particular concern with our bridges. However, we did do a fair amount of shotcrete, embankment stabilization, and deck repair. And so you can see that in all 6 of these pictures. Some of the proposed projects that we have for this next year in our bridge program are the replacement of Bridge S88 on Roca Road and Bridge R184 on Roca Road. Both of these bridges were built the same year with the same construction type. One of these bridges is closed. Roca Road is a major corridor for the south part of the county. So let's go back to the biggest box culvert. These bridges both have backwater that is into major lakes in our county. With that being said, they're better suited as a box culvert than a bridge in the future. It fits the channel better. So what we're gonna do for these two structures is build a 4-barrel 12 by 12 box culvert. It will span 48 feet. It's gonna be a pretty large structure, but we feel this is the best, most efficient way to get done what we need to get done in this corridor. In addition to that, Bridge E38, which is a small bridge located just south of the village of Malcolm. It is located very near to their ball fields, and their wastewater treatment plant had to be closed this last year. We had hoped to be able to replace this bridge with a box culvert, but a box culvert doesn't work out with the geometry for this. Unfortunately, this is gonna have to be a slab bridge at the cost of estimated cost just under $1 million. We're also currently working on our bridge F201, which is on Arbor Road, just east of North 27th Street. This is a project that we are doing in partnership with the Lincoln-Lancaster County MPO, and it will be an 80-20 split between MPO funds and Lancaster County funds. We do not currently have the money in our plan to build the bridge, but we do have the money to design the bridge, and so we are working on the design. This is a list of our proposed projects that can be found in your 1 in 6 packet that you picked up. You may notice not just the bridges that I talked about, but also a list of standby projects. On the standby project list, there are 5 bridges that have been submitted for the BIP, the Bridge Investment Program with the federal government. We did submit in September a grant request for $12.4 million that is an 80-20 program, so 80% feds, 20% locals, and we're hopeful that that could help us get the following bridges that are rated poor off of our system. G222, which is located north of Highway 6 on North 98th Street. Q110, which is located on Pine Lake Road, about in between 120th and 130th Street. C253, which is located on West Branched Oak Road. C284, which is located on Agnew, and X129, which is located on Panama Road, just west of South 68th Street. I'd like to now go into talking about our current pavement needs. In particular, our pavement needs for gravel roads. Lancaster County is a growing county. With COVID, we had a lot of difficulties really getting detailed traffic counts over the last couple years, mainly because we couldn't even purchase traffic counters to start off with. So now that we have the traffic counters in, we do have some updated numbers. It's not really a surprise that there are a number of areas where the traffic has increased. We currently have 8 miles of road in Lancaster County that have more than 400 vehicles a day, and we have 300 miles, or we have 20 miles of road with more than 300 cars a day. I think it's important that we note when we look at this map that we note 98th Street from Holdridge to Adams now has 520 cars a day on it by our latest count. It's also important to note Southwest 14th Street reaches nearly 800 cars a day from Highway 33 to Bennett Road. And then I also want to point out Northwest 56th Street from I-80 to Holdridge Street has over 800 cars a day with the recent opening of the new high school there. Any roads that you see in red on this map are really critical that we find a way to fund paving for them. If we go to our next. I want to talk a little bit about our GIS culvert database. As I stated before, we have 6,900 pipe culverts in Lancaster County. We now have a database. We're going through our second round of culvert inspections around the county. Deciding to inspect 6,900 culverts is not a one-step process. We have refined our inspection process, and we hope to wrap that up this winter. We have a few more pipes from last year to still put in this dashboard to get a good reading for how many pipes we have that are bad. Unfortunately, we saved this work in the summertime for rain days, and we haven't really had a lot of rain days this summer, and so we're hoping to get caught up on this later this fall. We do know from the inspections that we have done that of our 6,900 pipes, approximately 30% are rated poor and are need of replacement. And what does that look like? I really want to be sure to point out to the members of the public that are in the audience tonight that sometimes that looks like a pothole. And so in this picture, you can see what looks to be a pothole in a road. This particular hole was measured to be 8 feet deep and 8 foot wide underneath the road, which means the road is failing. You can see the pipe next to it is a picture from inside the pipe. We call these our bottomless pipes. It means that the pipe has rusted out and water is now running underneath it, which is ultimately what causes their failure. I think what's important to note here is that you as commissioners thought this was an important issue for Lancaster County, and you allocated $2.5 million of the ARPA funding so that we could add and increase the number of pipes that we are replacing. I'll note that we tried to pick pipes for the ARPA program that had minimal environmental issues due to the time constraints, and we broke it up into 4 different quadrants of the county. In addition to that, because of other environmental permitting issues, we picked pipes that were kind of grandfathered into any permits that had originally been built prior to 1972. What does that look like in a map around the county? It looks like the exhibit that you're seeing. We're hoping this $2.5 million will replace 60 pipes. It may end up being closer to 50. But hey, if you find an extra $1 million, I'd be happy to use it on pipe culverts. We did select 2 consultants to design these pipes for us, and they're designing it in 2 different packages each. What does our road program look like for the year that we're just wrapping up? We worked on 11 miles of pavement, or 11 miles of roadway for engineering. We did 1 mile of new pavement, which was Southwest 42nd Street. We did 4 miles of second stage pavement or asphalt overlay, and we did 20 miles of chip seal. And we started chip sealing a few years ago, and we're finding that it really is helping extend the life of our asphalt. Why are these paving maintenance programs important? I like to joke that no engineer ever gets awards for saying they maintain pavement or fill potholes. And then I will say that Woods Brothers Realty gave me a star for my pavement maintenance program. When they found out that we've really gone from 90 miles of pavement that needed maintenance in Lancaster County 5 years ago down to consistently 33, 35 miles that need pavement maintenance. What does that mean? That means that we can take that $2.5 million we previously used to maintain pavement every year, and we can put it into pipe culverts and bridges and pavement programs, which is super exciting. What are we proposing for next year? Well, we're proposing that we continue engineering on the on 12 miles of road that we've been working on, that we chip seal 15 miles. We'll probably have some emergency repairs in various locations. It seems to happen to us every year. Hopefully it'll happen less when the Beltway wraps up. Emergency repairs of 2.2 miles. And we'll continue to do pavement preservation. And a major focus will be on continuing to maintain this pavement. And I just want to thank Larry Legg and his team for continuing to work to preserve our pavement. Next year, we're also, or in the current year, we're also planning on doing a grading project. We haven't done a grading project in 3 or 4 years in Lancaster County. I really feel with the 570 cars a day on 98th Street from Adams to Holdridge that we need to grade that road for pavement. I'm only sad that I don't think we can grade it for pavement and pave it in the same year, because I know the people in that corridor are suffering greatly. Other projects for pavement this year are Southwest 14th Street from West Bennett Road to North Highway 33. This particular section has just under 800 cars a day, and it's really the same argument for pavement as it is for the 98th Street piece. And Saltillo Road. What you're going to see on this slide, and I apologize for it being a little busy, it's not something that explains easily. This is a federal aid project. This is a what's called a Highway Safety Improvement Program project. We've been working on this now for 5 years, and we're just really waiting for the Beltway to be done so that we can get in here and do this. If you look at the years listed and you see the FY isn't Lancaster County's fiscal year. The FY is a federal fiscal year, just for clarification, which starts on October 1st. So as we look at this, what we're doing is we're still working on our engineering. We're hoping this year to start on our right-of-way and utilities, and then we're hoping in FY25 that we can start on construction. What I always have to caveat is now that we have these federal funds, we are really at the will of the Nebraska Department of Transportation and the Federal Highway Administration. And they review our plans, the NDOT bids our plans, and we are beholden to them for what those schedules are. They are our team members, and we work with them as hard as we can, but sometimes these exact delivery dates are a little out of our hands. But in the case of this project, it's still probably worth the 90% part that the NDOT and the federal government is funding. Can I hit the next project? Our other project, and you may raise an eye because you'll see that FY 2025 again. It looks like South 68th Street could be right on pace with, I think you went too far. Can you go back to South 6? There you go. It looks like South 68th Street could be right on pace with Saltillo. South 68th Street is also an 80-20 project. It's a little more complex with the funding. This is a $10.8 million project. It will be the largest project that Lancaster County Engineering Department has done to date. It also has MPO funds in it, as well as safety funds. It has some site distance issues with some of the vertical alignment, as well as intersection issues. Where we could use safety funds, we use safety funds. And where we could use MPO funds, we used MPO funds to get the maximum amount of funding possible so that we could afford to do this road in one piece rather than a mile at a time. Fletcher Avenue is another project that we are currently working on the engineering on. The cost of right-of-way and construction is beyond the MPO's current program. However, we do think it's important that we get the engineering done on this so that we can get this corridor paved from 84th Street all the way out to 148th Street. Waverly really needs a truck bypass route and a different farm-to-market route right now. Amberley Road in Waverly has 3 schools on it, and so we have children crossing Amberley Road mixed in with truck traffic, which is really a disastrous combination. Northwest 56th Street from I-80 is another MPO project. It's an 80-20 share. We're currently working on the engineering for this. Please note that the cost for this project is also beyond the program. You might ask, why is she designing things where the cost is beyond the program? The reality is that to get these projects through the federal aid process takes a minimum of 2 to 3 years. And we need to start on these projects early so that we can be done with them when the funding is available. Or if more funding becomes available, of course, I will take that opportunity. 98th Street, A to O. We had a little bit of a setback with this project this year. Again, this is a federal aid project. When we went in and turned in 98th Street, Old Cheney to A, we were told that we had an illogical point of termination for this project and that we needed to incorporate the 2 98th Street projects. They are very different in nature. One is a road that doesn't exist yet. The other is a heavily traveled gravel road. That did delay us while that decision was being made. In the end, what happened was we were required by FHWA to terminate the contract with our engineering consultant and re-advertise the project for engineering with different environmental parameters, which was unfortunate. However, we do now have a consultant back on board, and are going to do our best to get back on track with that project. The next project, 98th Street, Old Cheney to A. We've been working on, did a public meeting for it some time ago. It has minimal utilities and right-of-way. However, we are coordinating with some of the developers. Not all of this project is currently a Lancaster County project. We will be doing this project in partnership with the City of Lincoln. They will be reimbursing or paying for their portion of the project. Also, in order to minimize disruption to the corridor, we will be constructing a roundabout on South Street, as well as connections at Rattlesnake Drive. And I did think they should maybe change the name of that street, but that's a different story. Projects that are proposed from 2024 to 2028 are listed in the packet. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask me afterwards, because there's a lot of moving parts. I want to talk a little bit about our future focus in county engineering. We're going to continue to have aggressive maintenance programs. I think it's really important that we maintain what we have and that we're good stewards of the things that we have built today. I also think that as bridges continue to be replaced on the poor list, that we need to figure out a way to get those bridges stabilized as quickly as possible. The number of bridges on our poor list has really created a lack of resilience to many of our highly traveled county corridors, and we need to ensure the stability of those in the future. I'll note that between 2016 and 2022, 29 bridges have been replaced with box culverts in Lancaster County. And in fiscal year 2023, we have the opportunity for 3 bridge replacements, 2 box culverts and 1 bridge to bridge. We are continually faced with the challenge of maintaining and repairing this aging bridge inventory, and I want to thank my staff that is with me, that is dedicated to that. We also did a video road inventory, as we're required to do in order to get FEMA reimbursements. Should that arise again, I don't want to mention it 3 times because I don't want it to happen. And then we do also have a very active social media presence now. We've been trying to make sure that we push data out there. And if you click on the actual picture, Tracy, it will play. So just in case you ever wonder, and I may do this. Let me just do this. This is a day when we're out on site pounding pile, and in case you ever wonder who has the biggest hammer, it's us. We definitely have the biggest hammer. We're swinging it as hard and fast as we can every day to try to get these bridges and these roads up to date. Please check your Facebook, Lancaster County Engineering Department, your Twitter account for road closures and any other information on our roads. And then just a quick message in closing. The employees of Lancaster County strive to continuously improve all aspects of design, construction, inspection, maintenance, and repair of all county roads and bridges, as well as culverts. In addition, the department continues to strive to find innovative ways to complete record keeping, permitting, and asset management. I'm truly grateful for the work that this team does every day under sometimes impossible conditions. The county has continued to experience critical failures with our pipe culverts, which has reached the point that even a minor weather event, and sometimes even no weather events, we continue to have pipe failures. There are currently 12 closed bridges in Lancaster County, several that are in danger of being closed in the near future. It is imperative that additional funding be found in order to repair and replace our aging infrastructure. Without additional funding, the department will continue to experience infrastructure failure, and the public will continue to experience extended road closures. As county engineer, I will continue to fight for additional funds for new pavement and new bridges, which I believe is of great importance to those who live and work in our rural community. Thank you.
All right. At this time, we'll begin taking public testimony. If you are interested in providing public comment during this time period, I invite you to step forward to the podium and... Oh, you have a list. Okay. Then we will have the clerk call your name. You can step forward at that time, and he will swear you in. We are limiting testimony to 5 minutes. Megan, with the clerk's office, has the timer and will remind you with 1 minute remaining. All right,
Before we start, I'd like to let you know the clerk's office has received emails in support of paving North 98th Street from Jim and Sandy Pelton, Peggy Hain, and Ken Hain. The first person signed in is Don Moeller. Since this is a public hearing, I will be swearing testifiers in, so if you want to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. First off, I'd like to thank everybody working for the county. I mean, they do good. My problem happened here a couple of years ago, I believe it was, when they tried to take care of the dust situation on North 98th. And it worked up until it rained. And every time it does rain, even this last half inch that we had, 98th Street turns into a hazard. Now, when I first moved out there 30 years ago, Waterford wasn't even thought of yet. So now we got all those houses. They've got an elementary school. Waterford is still expanding. And everybody that's in that area, if they want to go to the event center or Havelock or go get on the interstate, they're not going Holdridge to get onto 84th Street to go out. They're taking 98th Street to Adams, and they miss how many lights? So something definitely needs to take place. I mean, the dust did go down, but every time we get moisture, and we've been lucky here for the last 3 months. We really haven't had a lot. I shouldn't say lucky, we need rain, but no, it just continues to get worse. So something definitely needs to take place with North 98th Street.
Right. We appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Next is Branch DeVry.
Well, Deb invited me here.
I'll need to swear you in. Do you want to?
Oh, you bet.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
That's correct. Your microphone ain't on. I can barely hear you back there.
Apparently it's not functioning.
Hey, I live on Southwest 14th Street, and bought the land back in maybe 2010 or so. Anyway, we built a house here a couple years ago, but that dang road, I don't know what the purpose of a county road is, but a county road to me was for a rural resident to get to a paved road to go somewhere. And that's being used as a thoroughfare right now. The other day we met a Georgia Pacific truck coming through from the north, full of sheathing and that crap, and it's going to Highway 33, and from there, I don't know if it's going west or it's going east to get on 77. You see concrete pumping trucks. There's no construction between my house. I live about 3/4 miles north of Highway 33. There's no construction between my house and Highway 33, but yet we see all these semis going through, and they're commercial trucks. Now we see our share of farmers with their semis. They all drive semis now. They don't have the little grain trucks anymore, and they go by. And the county road group that pains me to say that Brandon Kramer and them clowns back to that road, they do a great job. They run a maintainer down there, I don't know, 2-3 times every 2 weeks. But as soon as they do it, at the end of the day, you can't even tell they've been down there. And I walk out to my mailbox, and it's wavy like that, and not to mention the dust that you pull out on that road. and you when the wind isn't real strong, you pull on that road, that truck will go by, and you gotta wait a while because you gotta let the dust settle, see if there's another vehicle coming. It just, I don't know. My biggest thing is if it's intended to be a thoroughfare, then it should be paved. If it's a county road, then either they got to get the sheriff out there and get people off the damn thing, or put a roundabout. That'll slow them down. I think a roundabout every damn half mile would be a great thing. That'd slow them down. I love roundabouts. Anyway, hey, I didn't know I had to speak in front of people. I can tell a couple of jokes I heard today on the, no, I won't. Golf jokes. We won't talk about them. I get 5 minutes. How long can I can talk? How many more minutes I got? 2 minutes and 30 seconds yet. Well, anyway, I don't know. What could I talk about? I'd talk about Roger's brother Lloyd. He was a good guy. He's retired now. I like Lloyd.
Okay.
Lloyd says he's going to take me golfing, but he don't ever invite me. What else did I talk about? Brandon. Brandon used to go to our church, but he don't show up anymore. He goes to some other church now. The best part about Brandon is his wife. She's a nice gal. And then there's Brandon. Hey, I go on forever, but I'll get somebody in trouble.
Well, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate your comments regarding
No, but seriously,
14th.
everybody's doing a good job. I know you don't got so much money, but you should take care of me because I'm a nice guy.
Nancy Newman. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Hi, my name is Nancy Newman, and I've had the opportunity to even get a business card from Ron. He's had to deal with me a little bit. Hi, Ron. He's been very diligent every time I've called, except when he's on vacation a couple times. So, but he did come out and he sat and in the little parking stall that's across from our entranceway to our association road. He has sat there with me, and I says, look at these trucks, look at these trucks. And it was just like a dust storm. I have a clothesline. I don't even hang out clothes anymore.
Nancy, do you mind giving us your address so we know?
2601 North 98th. I'm the second house from 98th and Adams. We built in 91. And it was nice and pleasant, and had dust then, but now with the construction of the apartments over by Walmart area and the construction of the elementary school, it killed us. I mean, it was terrible. And when they put that ice, I'll call it concentrated brine, when it got wet, it was like slippery. So then they would come down our association road, which we have to do our own maintenance and our own rock. So we had to patrol that, and people weren't very friendly over that either. And then they put that area across from our association road from about 98th and Adams to Layton. Now that's a park. And then they made a little insert there and put railroad ties around it so people park in there. There's trash. People, well, I won't tell you what all they do, but it's a very active place. So it's kind of destroyed our acreage environment because we have people coming in there, and they're there at 2 and 3 at night. They're lighting fireworks and everything. It's just kind of like everybody's stopping there. And then when they put the concentrated brine down, it did control the dust, and it was absolutely awesome until like it rained. And then it was a slippery slide. So, and I wouldn't go in, but they failed to tell us that if you did not wash your vehicle after you drove down that road, it was going to strip your paint on your vehicle and rust. It's worse than salt on the highway. So that was a big factor. And it seems like every time we have problems, I have to call in. You guys, the weeds are so tall. I mean, they were 6 and 8 feet tall. Couldn't even hardly look out. And once I called, they would usually come out and mow within 2 or 3 days. But the purpose of it is why do I have to call? this should be on a schedule. Like these people say that they get graded. We wished we got it graded every two or 3 weeks. I don't know how often it is that we get graded, but it's not very often. And it seems like we always have to call in to kind of complain. And I don't think we should have to do that. And when we had the meeting at Southeast Community College, I asked the 2 representatives from the city, do you even know where we're talking about? And they kind of, deers and light, their eyes lit up like deers and headlights. I think they were nervous because I don't even know if they'd ever driven out there. So we're in an area that no one wanted back 30 years ago because we built in 91. And it seems like we're forgotten. And we don't want to feel it because it seems like everything is paid. I wouldn't go down Yankee Hill if you paid me. It's a roundabout. I would vote for a roundabout on our street to slow down the traffic. And then I would also vote, instead of gravel, which creates a lot of dust, go ahead and put big rock down. That's going to slow things down, hopefully a little more than gravel. Gravel just flies. And that's gone within 1 day of traveling with the amount of vehicles that we have. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don Biggerstaff. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I just had a couple things to say about 98. I live on 1909 North 98th between Holdridge and Layton, about halfway. The road gets so much traffic that when the guys grade the road in the morning and add rock or gravel, at the end of the day, the washboarding is completely back, and the guys do a great job. I'm not upset with them. You guys really do a good job of taking care of 98, but it carries so much traffic that it's not possible to keep it in good shape. I've had several of my friends who came to visit us at our house, and just in the last week, 3 of them told me, I won't use the word they used, but it was a piece. And I go, yeah, I know, there's nothing I can do. But this is from the dry weather, and they're talking about the washboarding, because when you're going down the road and it's washboarded so bad, sometimes it'll start making your car shift one side or the other. Not safe. But the other thing I would like to do is invite one of the commissioners to come and take a ride down the road on a muddy day, and just to see how unbelievably bad it can get. I've pulled guys out of the ditch that slid off the road from the muddy days, and they get frustrated. I get frustrated. One day I pulled out of my drive and was turning left going north, and I just about slid into the ditch, and I was going slow. Anyway, the one thing I would like to do, though, is, if it's possible, is to have whoever the commissioner is in our area on a bad day, I would pick them up and take them for a ride and just show them what it's really like, because I've gotten, my truck's gotten so filthy on the bottom from the mud that sticks to your wheels and throws it up underneath your truck, that when I park on I don't even park on my drive, I park on my rock because it falls off, and then I have to scoop it up in a 5-gallon bucket and clean it. But the other thing I did want to do was recognize the people that are in support of the North 98th project going through, and could I see some hands of who's all here for that project? There's a pretty good group of us here. So we all feel the same. Thank you.
Don, if you want to provide your contact information maybe to Corey, the assistant clerk in the back of the room, that way she'll have it if any commissioners would like to reach out to you to take you up on your offer. I know Roma and I have been out there several times on muddy days, so thank you.
Tom Lannon. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I don't know that there's a whole lot more that I can add that you haven't heard already. We've talked about the dust. In my opinion, that is the biggest concern that we have. Maybe not the biggest. There's a lot of concerns, but the dust is a huge concern. What it's done to the properties itself, to the trees. We've lost a lot of trees out there. Your vehicles, you try to wash your car, and by the time you get back home, it's as bad as it was before. I was going to also ask to recognize everybody, but I think you guys can tell we have a significant presence here right now. It's an important issue to us, and I hope it's an important issue to you guys as well. You know, all the things I was going to say I think have already been addressed previously, but there is a need. I've been living in my home at 1911 North 98th for 32 years. It wasn't this bad before, obviously. It is a problem, and I think Don brings up a good point. When it does rain, it gets very, very slick, and it's dangerous. It's just something, I don't want to see it between the dust and the slick conditions, the condition of the road. Somebody's going to get hurt, and I hope it doesn't come to that before somebody decides we have to take action. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I appreciate your time and all the other comments from all of my neighbors.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Lefford Bennett.
Leffer Bennett. Anyone have a name close to that? All right, you want to call the next one?
Linda Shorn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I live on North 14th Street, 19595 North 14th Street. I support and like to propose that $3,600,000 that is proposed to widen North 14th Street. Give it to these people. We don't need it. Our road is fine. It's been repaired. The bridges have been repaired. It's been resurfaced. It does not need to be widened. So that's all I have to say. Give the money to them.
That was the last person.
All right. Okay. That was the last person we had signed in. Is there anyone else wishing to provide public comment yet tonight? All right. Seeing no one, we appreciate each of you being here, particularly the neighbors that came to support those speaking. We appreciate the staff of the Lancaster County Engineering Department and all the good work you do day to day. We heard that several times tonight, so it does mean a great deal. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion to second, and I'm sure that the county engineer and members of her team will still be here for a few minutes if you have anything else. All right, call the roll, please.
Best.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Ta-da.